All right, good morning. We're not live today. Sorry, guys. I actually have to go work at the roller rink today. They have a STEAM party this morning. STEAM is Texas's version of STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So they added the A in there. Uh, Before we get started, I do want to check in for yesterday. How'd day 22 go? How many of you actually mapped your onboarding process for the first time? Or the first time in a long time? How many of you found something you really knew that needed to be fixed because you've been ignoring it? If you've got one, drop it in the comments. I'm going to be checking later today. And I just want to make sure that we're moving the right way. And if you're not comfortable posting it publicly, again, this group's here for learning, but if you're not posting it publicly, you can DM me if you've got any issues. Every one of the improvements you make is going to better your program. That's all it can do, right? Is we got to make it move forward and we got to make it better. So each time your client has their first experience with the other side of your business, not the front facing, but the actual working part, is all that matters to them. And if they have a good experience, they're going to continue to work with you. Today we stay in the delivery space, but we go somewhere a little more personal. And I need you to be honest with yourself because today is one of those topics that most business owners really don't like to do and nobody wants to address directly. You always hear under promise, over deliver, right? We're going to talk about over delivering. And today's topic is about getting results, but not burning out while getting those results. Let me ask you something. How much time do you actually spend per client per week? Not what your offer says, not what you charge, but what you actually deliver in reality. I want you to think about it. Like, really deeply think about it. For most people, the answer is significantly more than they promised. And when they tell them that's just how they are, you care deeply and you want your client to succeed, they would rather give too much than too little. I mean, we've been taught that from the get-go, right? Under promise, over deliver. And I want to say something about that with a lot of love. A lot of love and a lot of directness. Over delivering is not generosity. Most of the time, you're operating from a place of fear. Fear that you didn't give everything that you have to the client to get them the results. Fear that they're not going to get results. Fear that you're holding a boundary and they're going to think that you don't care for them. Fear that the work you do inside your actual offer is not enough and it's your way of justifying how you get paid. I will tell you, as someone who is a people pleaser, a recovering people pleaser, that this one's hard, right? When you always want to over deliver because we were taught that that's the way we've got to do it. That's the way people see you. That boundary has to be held, or you're going to exhaust yourself. The fear is quietly burning you out. It's making you resent your clients. It's making you not want to hire more team, or you do hire more team before you need to because you don't have what you're going to do. So then you take on more clients so that you can start the cycle again. Start making you resent the clients you love. It makes you feel like you can never take a day off. How many of you guys have taken a vacation since starting your business? I'm not talking about you get to work because you want to work. Totally different, but you feel like you have to work. How many? I'd love to hear it in the comments. If you're so busy doing that and you can't take a day off, you're burning out. You're burning the candle at both ends and you're lighting the middle of the candle or heating the middle of the candle. It's making your business feel like a trap and you didn't get into the business for that. You need this to be the vehicle for the life you're building. Now let's talk about what that looks like for each of you. Obviously, these are just stories. They're not like factual and that kind of thing. They're stories about things to prompt you to think. For Coach, over delivering looks like answering messages outside of your designated hours. We talked about that yesterday. Adding bonus sessions that were not offered. Rewriting the same piece of copy 5 times because the client is not happy. That's why I said you need to have a couple a couple revisions that are included, because you're not going to get it right on the first time every time, but a couple versions, because you want the client to be so ecstatic, although what you delivered was what was promised, or you extended a program past the agreement timeline because you felt responsible for the client's results. Here's what I want you to hear. You are responsible for the delivery of your method and your support. You're not responsible for your client's action or inaction. There's a difference. And when you start taking on the responsibility for everything, your work becomes unsustainable. For a service provider, over-delivering is really at the crux of a lot of what you do, right? Because that's a space, especially if you're in the marketing space, that people want multiple and they think they get unlimited rounds of revisions, right? Turning things around faster than promised because you feel bad for making them wait. Doing work that falls outside the scope and the project because the client asked nicely. Or being available around the clock because if you won't support them, or if you don't, they're not going to feel supported. So every one of these things seems kind, but every one of these things is also setting an expectation that you will keep doing it. And the client who wants unlimited revisions is round one is the client who expects unlimited revisions every single time. So when we're looking at that's a client that you're never going to make happy. You're just not. They don't want to be happy. They're always going to find fault. So that's actually one of the tenets that we have in our business. Like, you have to be coachable and you have to be willing to do the work. So when we were in the marketing side of that, we had to develop a two revision rule because we had a couple clients that would keep coming back, and they were minute changes. Now, if it's something that's going to go out to the public, you still have to limit the amount of revisions. And when I was working with a coaching company as one of their marketers, we had unlimited revisions for all clients, and it was exhausting her profitability. You dip into your profitability if you come across, if you're in a service providing industry and somebody has not given you direct details on what it is that they want to create, we either have to fix your onboarding, which we did yesterday, fix your questionnaire, or we don't bring those people into our business. You can fire these kind of clients. Okay, off on that tangent. Back in. We're going to be talking about the product creator and the over-deliverer. The product creator, or over-deliverer, I should say, often looks like someone that's doing multiple redesigns. So revisions, spending more time on the piece than the price justifies. So if you're going to charge $45 for something and it takes you 10 hours, your profitability is crap. I mean, if it takes 9 hours, you're looking at $5 an hour. That's not paying you for your expertise, right? You're throwing in extras that people did not ask for, or you didn't charge them for, just to wow the client. That's a big one, right? We want to wow them so they keep coming back, but they're going to come back expecting that price. That's a non-fit client for you. You're accommodating last minute changes. I know for someone who's embroidery, like you have to fix the design, and that costs money. All of this disrupts your workflow, and you can't be as optimized as possible so you can turn and burn product. Your art and craft have real value. Your skills have real value. The time it takes to create a custom piece has real value. And when you constantly give more than you charge, you're devaluing your product, you're devaluing your work, and in the eyes of the client, even as they exhaust you, they know you're trying to impress them. For someone who's dealing with energy, over-delivering looks like being available for a mom in a crisis hour, extending sessions because you do not want to cut someone off mid-breakthrough, offering extra support between sessions without charging, or carrying your client's emotional weight while long after they've left their meeting. While they left their meeting, you're still carrying their weight. You have to cut the cords. The ability to hold space for others depends entirely on the energy you reserve for yourself. When you are depleted, you cannot hold space for others. You have to set boundaries, and that's not abandoning your clients. It's protecting your capacity to show up for them. Here's one of the things that nobody really tells you about over delivering. When you do more than promised consistently, your clients do not become grateful. They become accustomed. Yeah, you heard that. They get used to it. They like it. They want more of it. What was once a bonus becomes an expectation. And the day you stop over delivering, they feel let down, even though you're delivering exactly what they paid for. You heard that, right? Over delivering sets a new expectation for the client. The client likes it and becomes accustomed to it. And if it was a bonus before, it becomes an expectation now. So now they've stopped seeing that as over delivering, and they feel that you have let them down and you are not committing to your promise, even though it's exactly what they paid for. The most sustainable way to create a remarkable experience for a client is to do exactly what you've promised. With exceptional quality, do everything you can that they've signed the contract for, and then let that be enough. Ask the room, ask your friends, ask anybody, what is one thing that you're currently doing or they're currently doing that's not in the offer? Drop it in the comments if you can think of something. Drop it in the comments if you know of someone that's doing this for you. Drop it in the comment if anything, right? Like, we've all experienced it. We've got people that go way above and beyond and feel burnt in the process, even though they're the ones creating their burnout, right? Any one of those things, anyone that comes to mind, whether you put it down or not, is so valuable. And they make sense why you started doing them to begin with. Today, we're going to look at whether they still make sense or not, right? So today's moves, all 4 are about delivering with excellence without sacrificing self. Move 1, audit how much time you're actually using and spending per client. Use your trust. You don't have to have anything fancy unless you got a spreadsheet, Clockify, something like that. You could just write it down. Write it down. Worked on Joe Snuffy for 4 hours to prep for next session, right? So that's 4 hours plus their 1 hour session. And I do that weekly. So that's going to be 20 hours a week. I only charge them $500 for this program. Oh, wow. I really cut into my hourly rate, and now how can I support 30 clients at that? You get where the math is going. We either have to increase price so we take on less clients, or we need to think about who we're bringing in and working for. That number is going to surprise you. And that's going to be harder and vary depending on the work. So as a coach, I do need to prep for my sessions, and I do need to read things so that I am prepared. But it's one of the reasons why we use a therapeutic hour. So you use the 45 minutes plus you have the 10 minutes, and then I build a half an hour on each side. I do a little bit of research for them. I might spend 2 hours a week for each client that's doing one-to-one. If they're in the other programs, I do a little bit different, but we definitely value each other's time. And if you don't value each other's time, it's not going to be beneficial for your mental and physical health. So, on to number 2. Identify one thing you're over-delivering on that's not in your offer. Just one. Just one. That thing cost you more time, more energy, and was never part of the thing you paid for. That's the thing we're looking for. Name it. Write it down. See it clearly. And the first step is to start charging for it. So when you're thinking about your price bump that we talked about just a second ago, you need to think about the research that you're putting into each client and make sure that you are accounting for that on the budgeting side for the client's pricing. Move 3, create one reusable resource today that saves you time without reducing the quality. Right? You hear that? A template, a FAQ document, a recorded video answer for a question you're getting so often, one that you answer manually every single week, a checklist your clients can follow instead of asking you what their next step is, right? One thing that you build that you can use forever or for the period of time. That's what a CEO delivery looks like. So we're shifting ourselves from the full-on coach to the full-on CEO who is a coach, right? Move 4, set a boundary today that protects your delivery without hurting the client's experience. It might be hard. It might be your response hours, right? It might be limited rounds of revisions. It probably should be both of those. It might be a clear scope document that outlines exactly what is included. That you should have, especially if you're a service provider. You need to include exactly what is included. It might be a message template that kindly reacts to clients who are asking something outside the scope. One boundary today, pick one. And then next week you can pick a second. And the week after that you can pick a third. Now if it's that you need to rewrite your contract and you need to do all of those things, write out each piece and why you feel you need to do it, so that way we can make sure we get it done. Your personal page. We are going to create a post. Something like, I've been rethinking lately, is the idea that giving more away means doing better work. I'm learning and relearning. The most professional and effective thing I can do for my clients is deliver exactly what I've promised with complete excellence and let that be enough. What's one boundary you've set in your work that actually made you work better and do better at, let's reread that. Let's try to read that in memory. What is one boundary you've set in your work that actually made it you better, or what you do better? Or even better at what you do. You pick it. You can put whatever you want in there. I just want you to start. We need to engage on our page. You can ask that in a reel, in a story, any of that stuff. You want to get people to start talking about it, right? The post is going to resonate with just about every business owner. It's going to post in those that are in your personal network who are feeling burnt out, even if they're working for somebody else too, right? And it positions you as someone who has them think outside the box, and as someone who thinks their work is intentional. You know where worksheet 23 is. Let's go. Here's what I need you to walk away with today. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't go uphill in neutral. You can go downhill in neutral, but you can't go uphill in neutral. You can't move forward in reverse. You know, there's all those sayings, right? But you can't pour from an empty cup. Every business owner has heard that. Almost none of them actually lean in and act on it. So today you have to. If not, as you're building your business and you're starting to scale, this is going to kill you. Deliver with excellence, hold your boundaries. Build the reusable resources that protect your time. And let the work you promise be enough. Let the work promise it's enough. Let the work be enough. Drop in what you're over delivering if you feel comfortable, and what your boundary you're going to set today is. I want to see what you're doing to make change. I want to see every single CEO move that you're making. Remember, results are not burnout. Let's get you paid.